Good morning, Talk Visual, episode 6. Demetrius and I are going to get right into mindset and what separates great entrepreneurs from the mediocre entrepreneurs. Good morning, Dean.
Hey, good morning, brother. How are you doing
Everything
today?
is good, man.
Awesome.
Everything is good. How was your weekend?
Man, my weekend is always amazing. You know, I look forward now to the weekends, the things I have to do, whether it be traveling or it simply means things around the house. There's always something going on in my bubble.
I agree.
So what's going on with you?
Everything is good. I had a very relaxing weekend. It was nice, great downtime, good time with the family in the pool.
Okay.
But then as soon as Tuesday hit, Monday night, I didn't prepare, and I didn't start writing down what I was going to do this week. I just kind of went right into it. And I know that when I start the week like that, sometimes the week doesn't go as planned.
Right. Well, you had a script, and sometimes you have to deviate, right? You have to look at it and says, okay, I have a laundry list of things that I need to accomplish this week.
Right. So I wanted to ask you, with all of the stores that you run, how do you motivate your team to operate at a high level day in, day out? How do you keep them working at that level?
Well, it starts with the engagement. For me personally, every day it's a reset in my mind and for how we deliver to the team. I have a DM and management staff and then other managers that a great support system that speak to the newest hire up to me.
Okay.
And one of the things we go about is kind of have a daily huddle.
Okay.
And we set what is our expectation for that day. How can we conquer that day to avoid the 0 days?
So that's pretty cool. You have a daily huddle.
Correct.
And you tell them these are the goals for today.
Correct. And for the most part, they know the huddle. They know even if we are unable to make that huddle of that day, the game plan or the formula was already put in place. So one of the things that I look forward to doing is when I have my call and we go over, hey, what are we doing to do, where we're heading, what location we're going to need and sit in and try to provide the most treatment to. The treatment in our world simply means, hey, what is it that we can do better at? What are the categories we can improve at?
Right.
From the associate level, if it's about training up the next person, up to how we go out in our community and conquer, because not always the door is swinging.
Okay.
The goal is, what are you doing when your door is not swinging?
All right, so when you look at your team and you know that you have some breakout superstars, right, that do very well the minute they get there. They've just got a gift of personality, with customer service, and they do extremely well. But those that do not do very well, and you see them sometimes feeling frustrated that they feel like, oh man, I've got this black cloud over my head. I don't understand why I can't, progress and I can't exceed. How do you address those individuals?
Well, we kind of we sit them down and we go over. For one, we want to know why are they here? Why are you doing what do you need money for? What is the purpose behind what you're doing? And we go over their strengths and we look at wherever their weak points are, and we set up hey, let's come up with an action plan.
Okay.
To try to figure out how do we improve what you have going right and how do we improve what you have going wrong. And then we give a turnaround time in the next week or the next month. We'll come back to the table and says, hey, we've seen the improvement there and we've seen the weakness. Now, keep in mind, everyone that comes on board with you have different plans. Right. Some of them simply are just there passing through.
They have different goals.
They have different goals in life. So you have to understand, once you learn to know that everyone is not going to ride or die with you in the space you're in for their career.
Everyone is not, it's not a career for some of them.
Correct.
They're just passing time. They just need something to do.
Correct. So what I do is that and what I've came to terms with is that I understand you're just passing through, but give me your 100% because I'm going to give you our 100%. So what we do is we come up with daily structures to make sure that, hey, what you did yesterday, come this morning, we're going to go over those numbers because we could see the numbers, the reporting from yesterday.
Right.
And we say, okay, you missed this, you gained this. So let's go out and figure out how we can improve you as an associate. So we bring them in, we talk over what's going right, we talk over what's going wrong. We then have them to go over a role play. So we have them stage a conversation with a person, and then we try to improve on their talking.
Okay.
Etiquette matters.
Right.
You know, because a lot of times the youngsters today, they come in and they're lacking in etiquette.
Right.
They're great at one thing, but then when they come into our world,
Right.
they realize, whoa, there's a lot more than just turning that phone on that I need to know. How do I talk to that customer and make them feel comfortable to do business with you? Because there's more than just you around.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's really what we do for that individual. We bring them in, we sit them down, and we try to go over it. And that's a daily game plan that we set forth. We have an action plan board where their information is on there. All the sales done for that day is written on that board daily.
So if you've got
Like a vision
somebody,
board.
if you've done that process, you know, you've gone through that process with some of these individuals, and you just don't see the effort being reciprocated, do you sometimes just say, you know what, this person just doesn't have it, and we're going to need to part ways? Or do you consistently try to provide, you know, that support so that they could level up?
Well, the answer is yes in most cases. I mean, there is a term we have as promoting them to a customer if necessary. But I mean, that's a soft way of saying it. It may not just be working out for them or for both parties, and it's okay to say, hey, you've given it a try. We've given you 60, 90 days to try it out. And it's not always for everyone. And no matter what line of work you go into, you simply got to know when, hey, this works for me. I like it. This is what I know, and I'm going to run with it. The problem with most I see is that they want to spread themselves doing 12 things.
Right.
And losing out on the hard work of that one thing. That one thing could make you as much as you want if you scale it to where you need it to be financially.
Okay. Another question I have is, as the leader, as the visionary of the company, your job is to show your team what your vision is. But would you rather be loved or feared? You know, it's like sometimes I struggle with that particular answer because you want to be loved. You want to be that nice guy that's just always there and always gonna extend your hand to lift them up and to be their cheerleader and to be their
the motivator, the great motivator. And
you want to be, and then there's just people that do things, and at some point you go, okay, this has got to stop. So I've got to drop the hammer here.
Understood. But you can be nice and firm. I always believe in that term. I can be nice and firm. There's a time and place for everything. We know that when we need to get in the trenches, I am a lead by example type of person.
Yeah.
If I look a certain kind of way or if I'm acting a certain kind of way on the clock, I tend to remind myself of the why I'm there.
Right.
And I have to sometimes, take accountability for my own actions. So I need to make sure that I'm dressed a certain kind of way.
Right.
Once we go on stage, because as we call it, on stage. Once you're in front of a client, customer, you got to act a different way than you would act when you're in the back office or off the floor, as we call it. On the floor, there's a certain etiquette. The customer is there for their service. They're really not there to hear your personal business. And once you've identified that why you're there, I'm here to make the most that I can make out of this job. And not always a financial moment, but that come organically by me helping. I'm always looking for, how can I help you today? I know that you're here because of ABC. The previous provider or the current provider may be causing you a problem, usually.
Right.
Or my phone is dated and I need a new one. Or I just have very rare to come by and say hi, usually because one of the few things are going wrong and they say, you know what, I'm just going in, man, I was sick of this machine.
Right.
And they call the 800 number and some person pick up 45 minutes later versus coming into the store, wait a few minutes or not wait a few minutes if it's by appointment and getting the service help. So what I look for in my staff is to make sure that every customer, you have a certain period of time before the customer is interacted with at entry. Once they open that door, they have a certain amount of feet to walk in before they're greeted.
Right.
You find out what they're looking for, you acknowledge it, then you kind of go forward and try to close out on it, and then what you call tank and depart, meaning you thank them for their business, and then you walk them to the door. That is the organic way of what we try to do daily to all of our employees. Does it always work? We're a work in progress. There's always a moment where the person feels a little lazy, where they're not walking our customers to the door or greeting them in the way that we expected them to do it, or even as simple as answering the phone.
Did you ever see the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Wolf of Wall Street? All right,
yes,
so
yes.
I read the book of Jordan Belfort, which is called Way of the Wolf, and he talks about straight line selling approach.
Right.
And this guy was a tremendous salesman. He
Right.
did extremely well, even though he was indicted and he
Right.
went to prison. But the way he explained how to sell, it was amazing to go through what I read in that book. And he says, first, the very minute that you meet somebody, if you're going to be successful in sales, you got to come across as an expert in that field, right? So going back to what you were saying, your employees need to know the product.
100%.
They have to study. They got to go home and do their homework and understand everything about all of those products that you guys have. Number two, they have to have enthusiasm and a personality that's it's got some energy behind it.
Right.
And number three, you've got to keep them on the straight line sales approach. Like you can't let them deviate from what they're going.
That is correct.
From where they're going. And if they were to apply that straight line approach, their sales would go up dramatically.
And it usually does. And we've seen that it works. I mean, from the entry, if you're not excited about the product you're selling, you're not going to be successful at the product you're selling. And I've learned that, hey, if you put in the energy, the same energy to dressing up to go out to the club, and you're excited, you have to put that same energy to go make money versus that same energy to go spend money.
Correct.
You notice that, right? They always dress to the T to go out to the nightclub.
Right.
But they're not dressed to the T to come to work. Make that make sense. Let that sink in.
All right, so we're talking a lot about mindset and what type of mindset a person needs to have to be successful, right? Because what really motivates some of these people? What motivates? It's not always money.
No.
You know?
I've learned it the hard way that we thought that, you know what, money was a great distributing factor to what motivated an individual. And I learned that no, when we did the survey and says, hey, what motivates you? We did a survey around the company and says, what motivates the individual?
Right.
No, more than half said it wasn't money. You know what I mean? Because if you can work anywhere you want.
Right.
Why are you working here?
Right.
And I think that, I guess, the comfort, and I always tell them, stay uncomfortable for the success you want.
There you go.
So they come in and they tell you, listen, I like my environment, I like my coworkers, I like the scale up ability, I like the endless ability to make money in the commission world. But I realize that it's not always about the money, it's that togetherness. We close and we go and we do team building. I've taken them out to John Penny Camp. I've rented out a movie theater room and rented a whole movie theater room out. And we've had, drinks and food and asked them to invite their family. Yeah. One time I've taken them all to the Miami Heat game.
That's awesome, man.
So these are the kind of things that we did as team building. But when it's time to grind, we understand that, hey, if it's raining, you pivot.
Yeah.
Get out in the community. It's too hot outside. Well, go inside. We have a portal where we have access to our customers to know what they do and don't have in our space. If they're lacking one product, we know that. Our goal is to be the one to that customer. They're going to buy it from someone. The goal is, why not you? My attitude is, why not me? What did I do right or wrong that I didn't earn your business?
Right. And if they understood the wealth of knowledge that they could receive from you, and just understanding how you operate, knowing that you're willing to get in the trenches too. If the toilet had to be clean, you'd be the first one in there cleaning the toilet.
Yep.
And never to be too good for something.
Not at all.
And always trying to understand that we can learn from each other.
Yes. And then, Julio, from the inception, once we sit down in an interview with the individual, I let them know, do you have a problem cleaning the bathroom? Because traditionally, it's only our own staff that's using it.
Right.
Second, if the toilet, or if it's the bathroom, if it's the floor, it's the window, those type of things that is appearance, right? Curb appeal. Customer walk up to the door, the windows are dirty. The carpet or the inside of the store smells. Or your attire is just wrinkled, like you just roll out of bed, without ironing and pressing your uniform. We look for those things. I look for those things in my bubble.
Right.
And I would say but our bubble. But to make sure that we are getting the best of the best. You know what I mean? Sometimes it may not always feel that you're getting the best of the best based on the outcome. But you have to fight for the best of the best. And I figured that if you show up to work and give your 100%, I will do it for free.
Okay.
because I'm after the knowledge.
So you sell all sorts of communications.
Correct.
I sell real estate.
Right.
Right. So we like being around like-minded people.
Right.
Right. And the way my mind is wired, it's to hustle every day.
Right.
It's to learn something new every day that gives me an edge,
Right.
or that I could pass on to my team that gives them an edge. And it's basically every single day I understand that in business,
Right.
everyone is trying to kick my ass. everyone,
Well said.
every day,
Every day.
is trying to
Right.
just bury you.
Bury you. Right.
So knowing that, I want to get up and say, okay, I'm not letting that happen.
Right.
So I get up wanting to grind every day, and I want to be around people that have that same energy.
Well said.
It's not where, we don't live in an age where you can wait 2 or 3 days to get back to someone.
Yeah.
It's like the minute you get something,
Hot off the press.
go after it.
Right.
And you can come up with all sorts of excuses why you shouldn't.
Well said. You know what I've also told persons, it's very, very easy to do the wrong thing.
Right.
Very easy to do the wrong thing. Not answer that call. Don't follow up. Pretend or say you're going to do something and don't do it. It's very easy to do that. It's very difficult to do the right thing.
Right.
The right thing is the uncomfortable thing that needs to be done. Customers are expecting a great, fast turnaround.
Yes.
Respectfully answer the call, text or message,
Yes.
when it's convenient to them, making sure that the customer feel that, hey, I have an agent that's on it.
Yes.
Because when I'm out there looking for something and I say, hey, let's Google search what's going on with this property, or if I'm at the store and I says, you know what, I would like to have a storefront over there.
Right.
Let's find out from the realtor or the property owner of that property and says, hey, what's going on and when?
Right.
I signed a lease at the one downtown here, Homestead, 2 to 3 years before the ground was even cracked.
Wow.
But, we're still a work in progress. Knowing what the client wants is critically important. And I would assume that shines through for your business.
Exactly. It's knowing what they want. It's getting after it, because if you don't, your competition will.
Amen.
Right? And the way we survive is by providing the service quickly, efficiently, and on time.
Right.
You don't want a client calling you saying, hey, I haven't heard from you.
Right.
What's going on with this? You're the person that should be initiating all of the updates
Right.
and everything going on, because they hire us
Right.
to make that experience.
A seamless one.
That's what they hire us for.
Right.
But if they feel like they're doing all of the follow-ups and they're the ones inquiring and researching, then why would they need us?
Right. Right. What do you need for?
And AI is on the rise. Hopefully they don't replace. We hope they don't replace what we've
I
created.
am fighting that. That's another enemy that just came on the scene and has been lurking in the background for quite some time. So now it's coming to the forefront. So I encourage all of my friends and every customer that I interact with that calls me for anything, and my staff, I tell them the same thing. Stop sending customers online to do it themselves. What do they need you for if you're referring them to do it themselves? So I like to give you that concierge service, that pampering feel. Let me do it instead of you, even though it's about you. And I know that there's security checkpoints and there's reasons why now times are different, but they still like that good old-fashioned great customer service from a human.
Right. With this AI revolution, there's early adopters in everything.
Right.
If you got a new product, Steve Jobs comes up with the new iPhone for the first time. There's early adapters, there's the late adapters, and there's people that just think this is not for me. This is a fad. It's not going to last very long, right? I've been kind of the late adapter. But now I want to go, listen, this AI window is small, right? I feel that instead of being afraid of AI, adapt to it and say, how can AI help make whatever it is I'm doing just a little bit more efficient, right? Just take away, I don't want it to take away jobs, but it's going to, it's inevitable. But you've basically got your own personal assistant a click away that'll tell you your ideas are extremely good, or your ideas are gonna bankrupt you.
That's right. Change.
So it's got. I mean, you can get to where you think you want to go in your goals so much faster.
Right.
So even cities, cities like City of Homestead can say, you know, I'm going to create an AI department from my IT department, and just tell them, hey, bring me back ideas from anything that you're doing with AI on anything that you think we can make more efficient in the city.
Right.
So instead of doing your 8 hours of IT stuff, break that up in 4 hours, and then I think that's well worth the money.
Right.
But then you got some people that go, oh my God, you're using ChatGPT. It's gonna make you stupider. You're gonna be dumb. I'm like, no, the train is gonna leave you. You're gonna get left behind.
You gotta keep up.
So you better jump on this train, or because it's not going away.
It's not. It's here, and it's here to stay. And it's gonna once they start rolling out their next phases of what that looks like, it's going to be truly interesting if you're not taking advantage of some facet of AI. Every iPhone now, you know, if Apple now included it into their platform, and I'm sure the other programs out there are now including it. So it's important. I feel that, you know, I'm going to fight. I have a reason to fight.
Yeah.
You know, my family depends on me to fight. You know, especially in the line of business. Well, you know, what is your reason for the things you're doing? What is your why?
Right.
Julio, what is your why, sir?
My why is pretty simple. I want to have a great spiritual life. I want to have a great family life, and I want to earn an income so that I can spend time with the people I love most.
Well
right?
said. Yes, sir.
That's what we work for.
That's what we work for.
We want to say, hey, you know what, family? Today, we're not going to work.
Right.
Because we've got our machine working.
Right.
And we are going to go
on a cruise.
On a cruise, like you do, every 2 weeks, right? We're just going to go on a cruise. And we want the liberty to do that at any time. Because when you're traveling, well, at least for me, when I'm traveling and I'm with my family, it is a feeling that it's fulfilling.
Yes.
It's a very fulfilling feeling. It's like all the stress is gone. Everything is gone and you've completely disconnected. And you want to be able to tap into that at any moment. So what I'm trying to create is a residual passive income that will allow me to do that at any given moment of the year.
Right.
At any point.
Right. And I feel that waiting for retirement but planning for retirement is important.
Correct.
Do not wait for retirement to enjoy the fruits of your labor today if you are able to do so.
Right.
I say you make sure that you come to your advisors or your planners and set up a game plan that's some for now, and some for the future. Some you will never enjoy, but your family will. But understanding that if you have the ability to, with your hustle game, to make sure that you set up a great foundation for yourself, enjoy it now. I love cruising. I love traveling. There's a big old world out there. And once I tapped into that, there's so much to see, do, and all those beautiful foods and people and things that you can go visit. Man, it's a big world out there.
It is. And there are ways that I think there's opportunities that some business owners are missing out on, because there are perks and there are programs that you can get on with some of these cruise lines that through your business, through your frequent flyer miles, through your Amex credit card, through something, there are ways that you can get a lot of these perks that ends up being basically free.
I'll drop a gem on you. American Express, and you know, they don't pay me to say this. For many years, I used my American Express points to go on cruises.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And the concierge services through their card gives you the ability to transfer those points onto the cruise. And then on the cruise, we book our next cruise.
Okay, so the American Express card, for those that may not be using it, the American Express business you use to pay all your bills in your business, and then you just pay it at the end of the month so you can earn those points.
Correct.
And then at the end of the year, or at some point throughout the year, you've got all of this accumulated points that you go, oh, what can we do with this? And then they've got a list of things you can do, because you can go dining, you can go eat, you can do a lot of things with that American Express.
And it gives you great access to a lot of things. And utilizing that as a tool And whether or not there's a seminar going on, you can kind of tie it into business, which is usually the key, right? Mostly when you're on a cruise, persons will say, "What do you do?" They're always asking you at the dinner tables, and they see you there, and they see you with your family, and especially formal night when you're dressed to kill, and simply they ask you, "What do you do?" And you kind of one thing leads to the next. Next thing you know, you're selling a phone on the cruise.
Right.
That person is coming to port, the same port you left from. Hey, I'll be at your office when you get back to port. I've had that happen so many times.
And I'm the type of guy that likes to speak to people at the dinner table. I love just starting conversations.
where
My
are you
wife
from?
is really like she's really not that type.
Right.
She's the more quiet, subtle type.
Right.
But as soon as I sit down, I'm like, hey, how are you? My name's Julio.
What is your name?
I'm in real estate.
Always marketing, right? And again, sometimes it becomes just turn the phone down, turn the phone off. I said, you know what? We enjoy these things because of the things we do.
Yeah.
And I will never take for granted at all why we're here.
Right.
What our accomplishments look like. Making your accomplishment feel like an accomplishment, not that you're bragging about what you've accomplished, but letting it feels like, hey, I have a checklist of things. These are my accomplishments. And have you ever went back to the beginning of your checklist and says, check, I've accomplished that.
Yeah.
Doesn't that feel rewarding?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it
like
was.
I found goals that I've written down in like a junk drawer, right? And I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, like everything on this list has been checked off, And it's pretty cool to think your journey and when you wanted certain things, which is why I'm a big proponent of writing your goals down.
Right. I remember this ring. This is my high school graduation ring.
Yeah.
But doing my high school graduate, I couldn't afford this ring.
Oh.
I recently got this ring a few years ago.
Yeah.
During high school, I couldn't afford this ring. Wow. So therefore I said, one of my checklists is that I will get all the things that I could not get that I wanted to have because it made you feel good knowing that you were able to accomplish. So I went back and I went to Hef Jones and I customized my ring. Now,
that's awesome.
Second, I said, what are the other items on my checklist? I went down and said, I want to have this by this time. I want to have this by this time. And I said, you know what? With health and strength, I'm going to make sure I put in the work to make sure I'm checking all the boxes. I love the chase. I think the fun is in the chase of trying to accomplish that goal.
The hunt. We love the hunt.
Because that's what it's been for me.
The hunt of the deal.
And once I've accomplished it, it is like, okay, now that thrill is over. That's why you see me change my car so often. Because I'm like, okay, now I got it. What do you do now?
Yeah.
The chase is over.
It's like a restart.
Yes. On to the next one.
Like a refresh.
So that is pretty much it for me in a nutshell, man. As a summary to what we've discussed, obviously, knowing what is it that you want, knowing your why, setting an action plan daily, communicating with your team, you know what I mean?
Right.
Sometime a good positive affirmation of, listen, guys, hey, let's go for it today and conquer this day. Don't worry about tomorrow and the facets. Be concerned, but don't worry about it. Worry about today and what's in front of you. And control the things you can control. There's a lot of things that we cannot control. And a lot of times we take on this stress and say, you know what? Hold on a minute. I cannot control that, but here's what I can control. Do the things you can do.
One of the things I learned recently from our new police chief, Mario Knapp, was
he's doing a lot.
He's really doing a great job.
I've never seen that before, man. His marketing
and this is what I mean, where you can learn from others because success leaves clues, right? So my brother was being promoted at the police department, and I noticed that they were having a promotional ceremony. Right. So this is where all of our family got together to come out and support my brother. And I noticed that, those promotional ceremonies, not only are they recognizing, the person being promoted, but it's more for the families and the recognition and the sense of pride that we've got with that sibling, and I said, man, I'm going to take a page out of his book and start applying that in my business. Just to kind of recognize the small wins that these agents have here. And it's like, hey, you're doing a great job. Keep it up.
And that's
putting their name on the wall. And it builds culture in your office.
That is true. And a lot of times people stick around longer, stickier, as they call them, right? The stickier factor. I mean, you don't want to keep having to rehire and rehire and rehire. You try to find those who really are in it for the right reason. You align yourself with the right personnel.
Yeah.
And that has really been the goal and the trickiest part of our business. I mean, being on those sites, searching and searching. I mean, we have, persons that come and go, but then you got those who say, you know what, I'm going to stand 10 toes down. I need to make a life for my family and myself, and this is what it looks like. It feels good walking into a space where you feel appreciated, where you understand that we all have the same hustle and drive.
Yeah.
You can motivate me. Iron sharpens iron.
There you go.
And knowing that, hey, I may have not done so well last month, but I got an opportunity to kick your butt this month. So we got to have a healthy competition going on, and I love that space, and that's what technology does for me.
I know that there are people that truly suffer from depression and they need medication. They've been diagnosed with a mental illness, but I feel just somehow in my heart, I feel
core.
If you get around people that are extremely positive with great energy, somehow that depression can't set itself in.
Right.
So when you're down,
somebody there.
if I'm down, I just come hang out with you for a little bit. I'm gonna get back up real quick.
That's it, buddy. Because again, you understand your why. A lot of persons are searching for their purpose, and their whys. And sometimes that comes out of them by seeing the positive things that this person's doing. Well, if this person can do it, why not me? I have this why not me mindset. I believe in the fact that if this person can do it, and if I'm after trying to achieve the same goals in my life, I'm going to surround myself with like-minded persons. I've always been told this: if you're the smartest person in the room, then
you're not doing enough. Or
you're in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room. Something you said earlier too was you would work for free.
Yes.
If you were able to obtain knowledge.
And I have.
Right.
And I did that for the purpose of, I came from a space where it's construction.
Okay.
I was in the construction field. Hated every moment, day, second of it. Sometimes we didn't get paid, sometimes it didn't. And that could have been contributing to the, the boss, where, the money goes elsewhere. But under the same token, coming into the tech space and says, oh, I don't know that world. That uncomfortable feeling of not knowing something, but you're willing to learn it. I may not know it, but I'm willing to learn. You may be smarter than me, but you're not going to outwork me.
Right.
That is the mindset. That's what fuels me, personally speaking. But I am humble at out of the gate, just knowing that don't take the kindness for weakness of being nice. A lot of times people say, hey, such a nice guy, but then go over there to the bad boy and bad girl and give the sale up to them, and they're being rude and didn't help them because they just said it right the first time.
Right.
But stay true. Believe in yourself that these things can happen for you, because the real world kicks in after you finish college. And once that happens, you got to have that great reset of, whoa, that's not what it's about. This is the real time.
And understand that there's nothing free in life. There's nothing. Understand that. Nothing is free in life. If it is free, there's something that comes with it down the line.
And you may not like it. You may not like the result of that. So at the end of the day, Julio, I clearly accept what my purpose is. Yeah. I love giving back. I love being able to go on cruises and things with my family, and having a workplace where I love going to, not just saying it's a job. For me, it's not work. I tell my team all the time, it's not work. I love doing this. I would do this for free. And I really mean that. And when I show up, I show up with a bolt of energy, and I can sense when someone is down. I would probably call them and I would make them smile and laugh and say, you know what, that may have changed their day. Or ask them about their family. Hey, I don't just you're not just a number to me. And I tell them that from the inception. Once you come on board, you're in our bubble. In our bubble, I want to know how's the family. And I ask them if kids or their family, hey, how's everything at home? How's everything going on, man? Is there anything I can do? If there's something going on. If something is going on, hey, how is that impacting you? Because if your focus is not at work, even though you're paid to be there, your focus is elsewhere, it's time theft. They simply are there, might as well clock out and go home, or figure out how we can get past that. And some persons need the distraction. So you got to know your people, learn your people when necessary.
I'll say, all right, in closing, I think what we have touched on today is, if you work hard and you reach certain goals, you're going to appreciate that so much more than if somebody handed it to you.
Right. Appreciate the hustle.
You're going to appreciate everything you've gone through to get there instead of somebody saying, here, you know what? You're a cool guy. I'm just going to give this to you. That'll be gone very quickly. But if you go through the process, you're going to learn so many life lessons.
And I will say this final note too. When we bring persons on board, no matter what degree or what it is they have, we start them at zero. We don't put them into that position.
Right.
We start them at zero so there's no misstep. And they understand the hustle mode from the inception. So one person can't say, I'm not going to train you because of this.
Right, okay. Well, thank you. Another episode of Talk Visual. We'll see you guys next week. Remember to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe,
Talk to you
guys.
soon.
See you next week.